Between the years 732 and 701 BC, the inhabitants of the ancient Near East lived under the constant, suffocating shadow of the Assyrian war machine. This period was defined by severe economic strain and visceral terror. Armies were marching, supply lines were severed, and the local populations faced the prospect of total annihilation. In moments of total existential threat, physical survival hinges on the source a civilization trusts for objective truth. When pressure mounts, many societies suffer an epistemological collapse. They abandon verified divine revelation and seek guidance from dark, unverified sources, because those sources offer the illusion of immediate control. We can track the sequence of this failure using the 8th chapter of Isaiah as a predictive sociological model. The text outlines a specific descent. It begins with misplaced trust, degrades into psychological frenzy, and concludes in historical subjugation. A society's choice to abandon objective truth initiates a chain of events that leads to societal ruin. Isaiah chapter 8, verse 19 states, "And when they shall say unto you, Seek unto them that have familiar spirits, and unto wizards that peep and that mutter, should not a people seek unto their God, for the living to the dead?" In the face of impending invasion, the population failed a critical test. Rather than trusting the Lord, they turned to occult practices, listening to whispered chants of those claiming to contact spirits. The prophet exposes a flaw in their logic. There is zero evidence to suggest that the dead possess superior, actionable knowledge of current military or political events. He contrasts the concept of appealing to a living God with the reliance on the emptiness of the dead. Seeking answers in the dark separates a society from both spiritual light and rational reality. Isaiah chapter 8, verse 20 states, "To the law and to the testimony. If they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them." The law refers to the law of Moses, and the testimony represents recorded words of prophets. These physical records provided an established, verified anchor for the nation. This establishes an inflexible metric for objective truth. If any source of information or prophecy deviates from this word, it lacks the Spirit of God. The text classifies such sources as having no light. Jeremiah chapter 28 provides an example of this dynamic, demonstrating how false prophets speak without authority or light, feeding the public dangerous illusions. Without the anchor of the law, a civilization loses its standard for measuring truth. It is forced to operate in intellectual darkness. Isaiah chapter 8, verses 21 and 22 state that the people will pass through the land hardly bestead and hungry, and in their distress they will fret themselves and curse their king and their God, eventually being driven to darkness. This text maps directly onto the historical reality of the Assyrian occupation. During these years, the national treasury was drained to pay foreign tribute. War and unrest destroyed domestic agriculture, leading to severe starvation. The text traces a psychological mutation. Prolonged physical hunger and loss of property degrade into a profound, undirected anguish. Instead of recognizing their failure and repenting, the population misdirects their suffering. In their anger, they curse their political leaders and their God. The 22nd verse details the final phase. The society is driven to darkness, entering a frenzied state where their only objective becomes raw revenge and shedding the blood of their enemies. Abandoning divine instruction offers no protection from physical hardship. It ensures that when suffering arrives, it degrades into destructive rage and despair. This predictive model finds a stark historical parallel in the records of the ancient Americas. Isaiah chapter 3, verse 26 states that a defeated people shall fall in a heap upon the ground. Mosiah chapter 21 provides an exact parallel to these events among the Nephites, specifically examining the people of King Limhi. Limhi's people were enduring severe physical extortion and oppression at the hands of the Lamanites. Mirroring Isaiah's model, the Nephites reacted entirely on emotion. They were driven by a zealous rage to remove their oppressors, rather than seeking divine direction. Operating in a frenzy, they launched 3 separate, unguided military campaigns fueled by a desire for revenge. Each attempt resulted in a slaughter of their own people. Tactical action fueled by visceral anger, devoid of spiritual light, guarantees repeated failure. Following their third loss, the survivors returned to the city of Nephi. Their rage was exhausted. Beaten and broken, they simply sat in a heap upon the ground. Mosiah chapter 21, verse 13 states, "And they did humble themselves, even to the dust, subjecting themselves to the yoke of bondage, submitting themselves to be smitten." Their attempts to escape oppression through rage resulted in physical subjugation. The rejection of divine light outlined in Isaiah 8:19 triggers a material collapse that mirrors the spiritual one. The model operates with precision. Trusting in occult whispers leads to physical deprivation. That deprivation breeds unguided rage, and that rage exhausts itself into bondage. A society's epistemology determines its ultimate destiny. Seeking answers in the darkness leaves a civilization bound in the dust.